got Jimmy Butler, your best hope was that you could get into the 6th spot towards the end of the season. I mean, we were looking at that Clippers game to end the season, thinking that was going to be the game that maybe decided the 6th spot. You're already in the 6th spot. You're locked into the 6th spot right now. Let me just pull up the standings right quick. But the Warriors are now a half game up on the Timberwolves for the 7th spot, and they're 3 games back of the Houston Rockets, who you brought up, Sage, who are on a 3-game losing streak, and right in front of them are the Memphis Grizzlies, who are the Warriors are 4.5 games back of them. So what turned into a race for the 6th seed is starting to maybe come into a position where the 4 or the 5 could be available.
Oh, 100%. I mean, what hurts is the Rockets have the Pelicans back-to-back games. So you got to hope they split there. But after that, it gets a little tough. They got the Magic, the Rockets, the Mavs, who are kind of a rollover now. The Magic again, Nuggets coming up. So there's opportunity, and you still play them. There's opportunity. You clearly, you got to keep taking care of business. Obviously, you don't want to lose sight of what's ahead, but you got to win games. Make sure you could, keep off whoever's coming behind you in the 6th seed. But I mean, do the Rockets, do you think losing to Pelicans is beneath them? No, their best player is one of what is it? Asar Thompson, Amen Thompson.
Amen Thompson. Yeah. Those are 2 tough names. Amen and Azar. Yeah. Come on. What were their parents doing?
So it's just I just don't trust them. They can lose 8 of their next 10 to pretty bad teams, and it wouldn't shock me. They're a young team. They're still figuring themselves out. Obviously, you have Ime, who sets the culture there, but they don't really have a leader. Their leader's Fred VanVleet. And then you have Jalen Green's hucking 23 shots a game some nights. So I don't trust them. I don't think they have an identity. I just think they're a collection of good young players who play hard. They're a regular season team. And right now it's starting to go bad. We got to see how they respond to it, but the Warriors can easily catch them. Say they lose next game, the Warriors win. They're 2 games back, and the Warriors got the Nets next game. So and you still play them. So it's on the table. If you could get that 5 seed, it's game on. It is game on. You get the Grizzlies, then you could get the Thunder, and then maybe the Nuggets. So and then you get the Cavs, and then you got ring number 5 right there.
Oh Lord, you're jumping ahead a little bit, Sage. But
I don't give a shit.
What I'll say about the Rockets,
the way I'm feeling, Chase, right now, this is the best I've ever felt about the Warriors.
We're looking at
KD.
You have to look ahead because all the things that Jimmy Butler has done to this team look sustainable. It's not something where this is just maybe a 3 or a 4 game trial period, and who knows, maybe this could all fall apart. I mean, barring injury, knock on wood, this is a Warriors team that we're going to see for the rest of the year, and you get Jonathan Kuminga coming back into the mix. So you got to say that realistically a deep playoff run is in the cards for the Warriors. When it comes to the Rockets, Sage, they're the 5th seed right now, but I think that they still have the 8th best odds in the West to win the West. So Vegas doesn't believe in them. Like you said, Fred VanVleet's our leader. They got a bunch of young guys. They got young talent all over the place, play solid, hard defense, but the Warriors would pray to whatever deity they pray to get the Rockets in the first round. The thing for me, and I know the Warriors aren't thinking like this, because if they could get to the 5th seed, they're going to want to get to the 5th seed, but part of me is scared that even if you do match up against the Grizzlies in the 4-5 round, that you're going to get cleaned out by OKC in the semis, because they're going to be rested. They're likely going to be coming off of an easy series in the first round. I'd almost rather get that 6th spot and take a shot at getting a Lakers, and then maybe having to go head-to-head with Nikola Jokic in the 2nd round compared to OKC. But that's just me.
I mean,
you don't believe in OKC. You don't believe in OKC, do you?
Like I was just about to get to. Styles make fights, and we just match up with the Thunder so well. Like I said, we're 3-1 against them this year. We're 0-3 against the Lakers. We haven't beaten the Nuggets in 3 years. So that's why, see what you see, man. The teams that give you trouble. The teams you don't want to see. For whatever reason, right? The Kings. They could be shitty. They play us tough. Every time we play the Kings, it's a dogfight. For whatever reason, would you rather see the Kings or the Timberwolves? Even though the Timberwolves might be a better team, the Kings, for whatever reason, just match up with us pretty well. They're fast, they run and gun. The Timberwolves a little slower. We eat up on Gobert, and then it's just can you stop Ant, right? It's huge. Styles make fights. What kind of style wins the fight? I just think the way we play, the veteran, smart, slow down the pace type team is what gave the Thunder fits last year with the Mavs. The Mavs weren't athletic. The Mavs weren't the best shooting team. What'd they do? They slowed the game down, played half-court offense, didn't let the Thunder get out. They outthought them, outworked them like with their minds. And they beat them. Closed them out in 5 or 6, whatever it was. Luka was the best player in the series. I think in the playoffs, Steph will be the best player in the series. Jimmy will be the third best player. So I just like that, where when you go up against the Lakers, they probably have the second and third or the first and third best player in the series. You go up against the Nuggets, like you have the second and third best player, but they have the best player by probably a significant margin. So it's just how do you match up with them? And I just think the Thunder are the best matchup because the game condenses. You have a 6-7 man rotation, and you're going to be relying on guys like Lou Dort, Caruso, like guys like that. It's not going to be the Isaiah Joes, the Aaron Wiggins. And if they want to go 9 deep in the playoffs, they can, and they could die like that. So I just like what I have rather than trying to deal with LeBron, deal with Luka, or deal with Jokic. But we got to get there first.
Yeah, OKC's tough because when you look at the analytics, when you look at their record, you think, okay, they had the best. No, but I'm saying, like, I'm not an analytics guy, but people have been bringing up how analytics-wise, this is one of the best defenses we've seen, I think, in the 21st century. Like, they're up there. And then you had the MVP with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but no one's giving them respect. And even though sometimes you don't want to believe what NBA players say because they're so close to it, sometimes they kind of lose the perspective on what's going on. It kind of gives me some reassurance that maybe OKC, maybe there are some struggles with Jalen Williams being the second option. Chet is just coming back into it, but now they have a situation where when Chet and Hardenstein are both on the court, their defense is one of the worst in the league. I think they've had one of the lowest defensive ratings in the league, so they're going to have to figure that out. It's just, I don't know. In the second round, that would be a tough matchup for me, but it almost seems like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly. You can't avoid them.
Against any of those top 3 teams. So maybe the best route is to just get a first-round matchup against a Memphis or a Houston, and then you take your shot at those 3 teams from there on out.
No, I mean, I 100% agree. Like, at some point, like, you'd love it to be like Grizzlies, and then somehow the Timberwolves win, and then somehow you get the Spurs for the West. But that's not how it works, bro. Like, you're gonna have to. You want to be the champion, you got to go through the gauntlet. You got to beat these good teams, no matter who it is.
So Tim Kawakami,
no matter,
yeah,
go for it. Yeah, go for it.
No, yeah, but Tim Kawakami brought it up. I was listening to the Plus Minus podcast a couple days ago. He was a little bit less optimistic. He was a little bit less optimistic than us. I'm going to be honest. He said that even though the Warriors are hot to start off, that they're probably going to drop down a little bit, and he thinks they're still going to be in a fight for that 6th seed. He thinks that Minnesota's going to come back up, and that the Clippers have been consistent all year. Are we getting ahead of ourselves? Is the 6th seed almost locked up right now, or do we have to still give some respect to Anthony Edwards and maybe even the LA Clippers and say that the race for the 6th spot isn't over yet?
No, I mean, it's not over, but there's injuries, like shit could happen. You never know what could happen. But like, they're the best team of the bunch, and they have the lead now, and they have the easiest schedule. So I think like we got to start looking ahead, right? Like, we can't get ahead of ourselves. Like you said, beggars can't be choosers, but like, we're not in a begging spot anymore, right? Like we're the 6th seed. Like we're not in the play-in. We have a chance to move up all the way to 4. So, and control our destiny. Like we control our destiny. That's the key part, is like, it would take us losing 4 or 5 games. And when it comes down to something like that, it's like, I just don't see it. And like, when you look at it, like, what are the Timberwolves, man? Like, they're literally just Anthony Edwards ISO ball, and they try and play hard deep, but like Jaden Daniels, not really a shooter. The Dillingham, the guy that they drafted, he hasn't really contributed much at all. They have Gobert. They maybe made the worst trade of the offseason. If it wasn't for what the Mavericks did, more people would be talking about what the fuck the Timberwolves did this offseason.
100%. I mean, we were talking about Cat, how good he's been this year.
Yeah.
You get Randall, and he looks like the worst possible fit.
They're better with him off the court. Yeah, they're better with him off the court. DiVincenzo is nothing like he was last year. He was like a sniper. He looked like Klay Thompson. Now he can't even shoot. Like, he provides nothing. He seems so miserable being there. He gets in a fight in his first preseason game with the Knicks. I think it was Jalen Brunson's dad, was it? Or was it Thibodeau? Whatever.
He was going at Thibodeau and Jalen Brunson's dad. Yeah, he was trying to fight with everybody, which, to be fair, he's like a scorn lover at that point. Like, they get the entire Villanova starting 5 in there, and then they send him out to Minnesota. Like, that sucks. That sucks. They did him dirty.
No, so I don't want to say we're looking ahead, but man, like, I just think it's in sight. Like, it's right there. They just got to take it.
We'll see. I mean, Sage, coming up over these next 2 weeks, this is really going to determine where we could go, because you got Kuminga coming back. You got a gettable schedule. I think they have a couple tough games coming up. They got the Knicks back at the Chase Center, and then we're going to see who you really like better because they play the Milwaukee Bucks too. So there's going to be some tough matches, but
I think
they
got
still
a
have
Bucks Nuggets back to back soon.
Bucks Nuggets back to back. So I think over the next couple weeks is really when you're going to see, okay, how does Jonathan Kuminga fit into this entire setup with Jimmy Butler? And that's when we're going to get the answer, how high the Warriors could go. And I'm hoping that Kuminga just elevates them, and then we really see like, okay, maybe they're right on that level with the Lakers, with the Thunder.
Sky's the limit, baby.
With the Nuggets. So I'm excited about that. Anything else, Sage, before we hop over to Niners talk?
Nothing else, man. I'm just excited.
Great W. Great. Sage, whenever you go into MSG, especially against a Knicks team like this, Steph Curry, thank God he found a way to play because that would have been a fucking
12-1 at the Garden.
That would have been a boner killer. That would have been a boner killer if Steph didn't suit up for the Garden today.
Chase, okay, so Steph's 12-1 in the Garden. Do you know which one he lost? Do you know what his one L is?
No.
The famous 54-point game.
Hold up. What's that?
I just said it. Oh, did you not hear me?
I
just fucking said
54-point game?
Yeah, where he became Steph Curry. That was the one loss was that game because of how much they sucked. Yeah, that was like the peak where it's like you see the Warriors coming up, like Steph could have 50 games and 50-point games, you could still lose. Like I'm a little happy we're past that point, but it's just funny because that was the game that everyone remembers Steph as his coming out party. And a lot of people forget, like they lost that game. Like when you go back and watch the highlights, you're like, oh, when do they make the comeback? Like when do they make the comeback? And it just doesn't happen.
If you're the Knicks, that's so tough because it's awesome, right? Your home court's MSG. You play 41 games at MSG all year, but it's almost like you're the defending champions every year because everybody's trying to have their best game of the year when they go to MSG. I mean, we all know MJ back in the day used to do that. LeBron James has been doing that his entire career, and like we saw it with Steph today. There was no way he was going to miss this game, even though, like, if this was in Detroit, Sage, if this game was in Detroit, like Steph Curry he's sitting this game and he's playing on Thursday. There's no way in fuck he plays if this game's at the Smoothie Center in New Orleans. So it's almost kind of like a blessing and a curse for the Knicks that MSG's their home ground.
The Smoothie King Center? You're hating on Smoothie King? But yeah, no,
I'm
100%.
hating on Smoothie King. I mean, maybe we're just like regular Californians who don't know about the rest of the country. I've never heard of fucking Smoothie King outside of it being the stadium for the Pelicans.
It can't be that. It has to be good, but like it can't be that good where you name your stadium after. Like, how much money does Jamba Juice? Imagine like the Warriors. Like, yeah, we're hosting a playoff game at Jamba Juice Arena. Like, I just can't imagine. Like,
I mean, it seems like a Walmart version. Yeah, it seems like a Walmart version of Dairy Queen. Like Dairy Queen, and it's like, oh, we're Smoothie King. It's like, all right.
What's the best court name? It has to be Madison Square Garden, right?
FTX Arena. FTX Arena. Remember that one?
What? No.
That was Miami. Miami was FTX Arena, and then he stole billions of dollars from people, and then they had to get rid of him. But Madison Square Garden's great. I mean, Chase Center.
I like the Oracle more.
I gotta love Chase Center. TD Garden, Boston. I like
TD
that
Garden.
one.
Anything with Garden. Garden just adds like a big element to it.
And you got the parquet courts on Boston too. So I would have to go.
The Palace.
Boston. I don't think it's the Palace anymore. I think they had to retire the Palace.
What is it now?
I think it's Little Caesars Arena.
It is Little Caesars. I was gonna say it's still I
think it's something like not memorable at all because they had to get rid of that right after Ron Artest went up into the 20th row and started beating the shit out of Pistons fans. They had to retire that name.
Little Caesars Arena is tough, man. That is terrible. Pizza Hut.
Well, who knows? I mean, the Pistons. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Pistons, but it seems like they're starting to make something happen again. I don't think the Pistons
see them Saturday.
Yeah, we're gonna see them Saturday. They haven't won a playoff series since 2008. They've been the Little Caesars Arena for about 10 years. So it seems like Detroit basketball is coming back. Detroit, what a time to be a Detroit sports fan. You got the Pistons coming back. You got the Lions who got the 1 seed. Season didn't end the way they wanted to, but Detroit may be back, man. 3-1-3, baby. Rep.